stage. Silly games of second guessing. I won't forget the blessings that I don't deserve. Because one street over there's a life I couldn't have known. Would have kept me from the one I love today. One street over there's a life I couldn't have known.
And this is One Street Over, and yes, I'm doing what I always do. I get in here and I start talking to my guests, and I'm like, I got to turn the microphones on so people can hear what we're talking about. We're having so much fun here. I'm talking with Dr. Kim Haas. She is our principal at White House Heritage. And, you know, as soon as you walked in, I'm like, do you know, you remember my friend, Muriel Barnett? And you know, one of the best math teacher extraordinaire ever. And she's one of those that she was heading out as I was heading in, and she was just like, LaVern, that's a lot. Oh, I'll never forget the first thing she said to me. Well, it's actually right after, because we were teaching together for about a year, because my first year she was still teaching, I think. I forget. I can't remember. But anyway, I told her, it was like right after I'd just gotten into my classroom, and I said, we were at church one Wednesday night, and I said, you can't look away. You can't turn your back on these kids. And she goes, that's what I've been telling you. And, you know, so anyway, it's just so funny. And they're all good kids. Yes, oh, my goodness. Yes. Knuckleheads, a lot of them. Yes, but I just love them to pieces, love what I get to do. Isn't it great?
It is.
Isn't it just wonderful. A blessing? So how long have you been how long have you been principal?
I've been the principal there. This is my 9th year.
Okay.
But I was the assistant principal for that. So this is my 13th year at Heritage.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Now, are you originally from here? Or are you?
No, ma'am. Okay. I'm actually from Alabama, about 30 minutes east of Huntsville, Alabama.
Nice. I've got a kid that lives in Huntsville.
Really?
Yeah, he's an electrical engineer. Works in
UAH probably, or the NASA stuff.
Well, I forget which company he builds drones. So I don't really know. I don't really know what he does. You know, he just transferred. He wants to work in space stuff, but you know, the Amazon dude is building a facility down there. Okay. You know, because you know, to SpaceX, you got to be in California or Texas, pretty much.
Right.
But what is the Amazon guy's name? He's Bezos, whatever. He just, you know, the Amazon guy.
The Amazon guy.
Yeah, right. He's doing some kind of space thing down there, and so I think he's kind of, you know, looking at that. I mean, no, he loves what he does, but yeah, he's in Huntsville.
It's a great place.
Getting ready to get married.
Oh,
so
all
yeah,
the things.
Yeah, I got the marriage coming up here in October. So yeah, Huntsville. So
we're going to be very busy.
Yes. I'm gonna get you to pull a little closer to that microphone for me, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You can even pull it on that thing. Just pull it next to you a little bit more. That good deal.
That work? Okay.
But that's much better. Just so we can make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Plenty of good sound. So we want to take. And this one's blocking your face there. Okay, and so we want to take, and this is really kind of funny because we've been working on this all year long to talk to every principal in the county, and we've done it. Thank you, Jim Bellis, for setting all this up.
Yes,
and this is something that I've told several people when I first took over the show, and this has been 6 years ago now. They were in a routine of doing that, and I just didn't understand it, and I messed it up. And then Jim's like, we got to get that started back. And I said, yeah, I don't think there's a better way to know what's going on with the schools than to talk to their principals. And one thing we attempted, and we just have not been able to get it together because right here at the end of the year, it's so busy. We really wanted to because we have a news studio at Greenbrier. And so we were wanting to do a countywide news report about just like the highlights of each school. We're going to be working on that for next year. So I'll be reaching out to y'all early on and saying, communicate with me what's going on because we're compiling something for the end of the year. But right here at the last month, we just couldn't get all the moving pieces together because there's a lot. And there's a lot that happens throughout the county. But we want people to know what an amazing county we have. And,
yes, ma'am.
And man, White House Heritage are just booming out there.
Yes. That's what everybody likes to talk about. So that's what I was going to talk about first. It's just growing so much.
How many students do you have now?
Well, I have 1,000 kids. And if you first look at it and you think, well, okay, that's not bad for that building. But we are 2 thriving schools. We're a middle school and a high school in that building.
Yeah.
So it's growing like constantly. Houses are going up everywhere.
They
So
really are.
I know that Dr. Weeks and his team are working on how to fix that problem, and they're doing a great job moving forward.
Good deal. And so, and that's, I think we forget because at our building at Greenbrier, we're a high school and then middle school's down the street.
Right.
And so it's separate. So you are the principal. Are you just the principal over the high school or the high school and the middle?
High school and middle school.
Wow, that's a
I know.
lot.
I have
So
great assistants, though.
I'm sure you
Yeah, I
do.
do. I do.
How many assistants do you
I
have?
have
middle?
3. I have one that works with the middle school. Her name is Julie Dortch, Dr. Dortch. And then I have 2 with the high school, Dr. Emily Thompson and Steve Owens.
That really surprises me. I figured you'd have at least a couple in the middle school and maybe 3.
Well, let me,
I mean, honestly, because the things the kids get into these days, I'm just going to tell you, it's a lot. And there's a lot of, there's all these class observations you have to do. And people don't realize that's a lot of what some of the assistants have to do is to help just kind of maintain the observations and things like that. And you want people to know that your teachers are competent in doing what they're supposed to do.
exactly.
And just like we have one of our assistant principals, she's in charge of safety is one of her things. And so, you have just a lot of things going on that you did not have to think about when I was growing up.
Exactly.
So it's a different world, but
It really is. I mean, safety is at the forefront of your mind.
You've
always.
constantly it has to be.
Uh,
But y'all do have a beautiful facility there. I've had the opportunity to come to some professional development days there, and it is a beautiful place. And and I know Muriel just absolutely loved it. But what are you most proud of at White House? That's the question I always like to ask everybody. What are you most proud of?
Gosh, I mean, there's so much. 13 years. I'm sitting there thinking.
Yeah.
This morning, just all the memories and all the wonderful things. What my faculty is so good about is I'll come up with something, and they're like, at first, look at me going, "Oh, I don't know about this," but then they take it and they make it better than anything I could have ever imagined. Like our
Love it.
biostem. I think biostem is probably what I'm most proud of.
Yeah.
It was just an idea that I talked to Miss Hoover about. Erica Hoover is amazing. We sent her off to Huntsville, where there's a huge biostem lab there and training facility. She went for the whole year and just trained there in other different areas to actually start the program. We didn't even have standards in the state of Tennessee.
Wow.
So we were
That's
fighting.
cool.
Yeah, we were fighting for it. And Mr. Gregory, who's over CTE, of course,
Yeah.
he helped fight for us. And just that equipment alone is a lot. And
Yeah.
the good thing is that I think I'm the proudest of the kids that were studying biostem during COVID actually got to study COVID as it was going on.
Ooh, that's cool.
I know.
Yeah, that's really cool. So how long is I've heard a lot about it because I'm every chance they get that is touted as this is a cool thing that we have here in our county, and it is a
Right.
super. And I'm talking about from Dr. Weeks, from Mr. Gregory,
right.
all the folks that are very very excited about that. When did that start?
Gosh, I want to say about 18.
2018.
Yeah, I
Okay.
went to a conference and talked to a couple of people that were like, starting it up and thinking about those things. And I was like, I know we can do that because we were looking at ways that Heritage could offer the district something.
Mhm.
Like right
Something
now, we all
different,
go over
yeah.
to Springfield for CTE.
Right.
I was like, what can we offer?
Mhm.
And that was something I felt like every kid in our district could do if they wanted to. So kids graduating now, we just started last year with what's called the base test. The base test, if they pass that, they can walk into a lab making $50,000 next year,
Wow.
straight off. And
Wow.
but most of our kids want to be doctors and
Yeah.
they're wanting to move on. So this gets them through all those labs, those first couple years of labs that they have to do in college because they have that
They've
experience.
got that
already.
foundation.
And I just found out this morning that 6 of my 8 have passed the base test this year.
Oh, how cool is that?
know,
That
I
is
know.
exciting.
So there's always something, but
That's exciting.
I have a young man going to West Point next year.
Nice.
Dom, his name is Dom Malledge. I have a state golf winner this
Yeah.
year, Grayson Cook. I mean,
Yeah.
many district wins in our sports, but I just tell you right now, it couldn't be done without the teachers. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's Teacher Appreciation Week, but I just tell you, our first thing at Heritage is relationships.
Yeah.
and everything falls into place.
I get
And
that.
that model would be Muriel, because
Hmm.
Muriel not only made better students in math, she made
Hmm.
better people.
Yeah.
And I
Agree.
know we had that little poster outside her door, but it was true. I mean, you have to think about the kids that are going to take care of us now and in our future.
Uh-huh.
Muriel had a big part in that, and so do my teachers at Heritage, because none of this could be done without them.
Oh, I agree with that. I just love that you said that about my friend because she misses it. She misses her kiddos. I mean,
I miss her.
she's enjoying her retirement.
Of
Don't get me
course,
wrong, and she's a grandma now, got a grandbaby,
I
and
follow her.
so yeah, and so but I love that you said that because what's so funny is I feel like I know about your school because of her because of the way she shared it, and she could only share the heart of what you're doing because she was so a part of it. Just like I
Yes.
asked her the other day, we're going to we're going to do a talent show in the fall, and I said, okay, tell me how to do it because I knew that was one of her
Right.
things,
Oh yes.
and just getting to know the kids. And that's why I told I told Dr. Osborne, I said, I just want to have the kids a chance right out of the gate when we come in the fall to say, look what I can do.
Yeah.
So people know it's not like a secret.
Yes.
I want the kids to be able to showcase something, and say, hey, I can do this before we're at the end of the year going, I didn't know you could sing. I didn't know you could act. I didn't know you were a wonderful artist, those kinds of
Well,
things.
I
So,
feel creation is like the
yeah.
ultimate form
Mm-hmm.
of understanding content.
Mm-hmm.
For, of course, I'm a musician, so I was a band director for 20 years before
Nice.
this. So
Well, I was going to ask you, what was your education background as far as teaching? So
music
in band.
education.
Okay,
I was
cool.
a band director for 20 years.
Awesome.
So yeah.
I love it. Well, see, and that's the thing. I just I have so much respect for the field of education. I always have. I started out as an education major in college and got bit by the radio bug and took that really crazy turn. But I always kind of felt like it would go full circle and come back around. And just being able to be a part of it and to talk to these dedicated teachers
Yes.
that love your kids
Oh,
unconditionally,
oh,
guys. And I mean, that's
100%.
not to say we don't have our frustrations,
Yeah.
but we love your kids, and it's just an exciting time here in Robertson County. So, as far as the bio, before we leave the biostem, for somebody like me, I think I understand exactly what is a biostem program. Can you clarify that for people? Because I mean, it's lab research. I've got a young girl that grew up with my kids. She is in research lab. She's researching cancer. She has her doctorate. I mean, I know, is that biostem? Is that what you mean by that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's just the research that goes into the lab that tries to cure the diseases.
Right. And
That's my
it
understanding.
combines a lot of biology
Okay,
and technology.
okay,
So all of the equipment that we have in our lab, you'll see in a major lab, like a hospital lab. And we're not just talking about hospital or medical. I mean, we have tobacco labs here, all types of labs that they could walk into
okay.
and be ready to go.
Okay, and
right
so
now.
it's things that you see whenever they're doing when somebody needs some kind of lab work, the machines that operate that separate the parts of the blood to analyze
Yes,
it and all that.
spinner.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I was
Right.
like, I don't know that anybody's ever really explained it to me.
Yeah, it's
You know.
it's rather new,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been amazing. And
Yeah.
like I said, this is our second year being able to offer the base test for the
Okay,
kids. Yeah.
I got it. That's really cool. I think that's so exciting. Now, can anybody other than a heritage kid come to your program? That's my understanding. Is we can,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
I had a kid that's just a gifted person that's ready to go into the medical field, can they come to your program?
They sure can.
Okay, how does that work?
We wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
was something we could do for every kid.
Right.
So transportation, Josh Heinerman is amazing,
Mhm.
being able to make all the
Absolutely,
buses
yeah.
work constantly. But he also makes sure that kids, like I know I have a child from Springfield that comes
Mm-hmm.
over for BioSTEM. So he makes that happen. And we just remove all any barriers that could be there.
Is that Is that on the same schedule as the trade school kids?
Yes, most of
Okay.
the time. Yes.
Because we have a whole bus that comes out of Greenbrier that comes
Right.
to Springfield.
Yep.
And they do welding and they do, HVAC, and then they do criminal
Automotive,
justice,
yes. All-
all of those things.
Yes.
And I'm not sure because they now have an audio video program at Springfield. And I'm not sure that that's not going to be available to the kids that don't have audio video because we have one at Greenbrier, so we
Right.
won't have the need. But I don't think there's plans to put another audio video program in any of the other schools.
Not that I know
So
of.
yeah, and so that means that the kids. I'm thinking, and I don't know. I need to clarify that with Mr. Gregory, but I love that you can do that. That you can
Oh,
come.
yes.
And I mean, we would. I think we could welcome people from other schools into our audio video if something
Right.
if we had something they don't have. We have a great engineering program. So I don't
Dude,
know.
that's
Yeah.
the great thing about Robertson County
Yeah.
is we remove barriers. Dr.
Mhm.
Weeks is amazing at that. That if it's to be done for kids, he will do it.
Right.
So that's unique about Robertson County.
Well, I know that they too, even in sports opportunities, some
Yes.
schools don't have maybe a wrestling team, and you can go wrestle.
Co-op with another
Yeah,
school.
co-op with another
Yep.
school. So I love that. So if you have, and I'm kind of emphasizing that. So if you're in an area and you're like, well, I'm going to be at this school and they don't have this, talk to somebody, because if they've got it
Yes.
within the county, they're going to try to help you facilitate what you need.
Right. Or homeschool students.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So that is so cool. I love that. I'm so glad to hear a little bit more about the BioSTEM. Now, another question I always like to ask is, how are you as far as your staffing?
Yes.
I mean, we always have retirements. We always have those holes to fill. We all need special needs teachers, special education teachers. That's just, or assistants. That's always a constant. Do you have like a list of these are the people who I'm looking for to hire that you want to interview that you want to share with people, or are you doing pretty good as far as staffing?
We're doing pretty good.
Good.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of turnover,
Yeah.
and those that we do, I mean, I know we'll be in that process in the next couple of weeks.
Right, right. But there's nothing that you want to, because that's one thing we always, and that's something that we talk about a lot at the first of the year. We had our job fair recently. And so if you're somebody like myself that's kind of toyed with the idea of going into the school systems, we need you. And there's all kinds of jobs,
Oh, yes.
from transportation to
Bowling coach. I do need a bowling coach.
you need a bowling
I need
coach.
a bowling coach.
Oh my goodness, that's so fun. I love it. I love
Yes.
it. That's great. So none of your teachers that are sitting, could you hire just somebody that comes out, that's not a school teacher to be a bowling coach? Would that be, is that something you would do?
Sure. That's again another
Yeah.
way that we remove barriers
Right.
for the kids.
Okay.
You have to be vetted, just like
Sure.
any substitute teacher or
Right.
volunteer coach.
Okay.
So yeah, you go through that process. You give somebody a call, and we can definitely talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very good. Because I mean, so what all sports do you have? So you've had a bowling team. What else do you have?
I have bowling. I understand I have it for middle and high. So football. So you have junior varsity, ninth grade, and high school, and then you have middle school, and then you have basketball for all girls and boys.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have softball, of course. You have baseball, middle and high, soccer, middle and high.
Boys and girls.
Boys and girls. Yeah, everything's boys and girls.
Volleyball.
Volleyball, track and field. Did I say basketball? Of course.
Yeah, you said
Really
basketball.
said that.
Do y'all have cross
Wrestling,
country?
we have a big wrestling program.
Yeah. How about cross country in the
Yes, we have
in the
cross
fall? So
country.
you pretty much have them all.
We have
yeah.
them all. In fact,
Golf team you already mentioned.
we do.
Yeah.
We do. And so we're even looking at maybe rugby next year. I know the kids
Oh.
are interested in that.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I have somebody interested.
That'd be fun.
Still need bowling.
So we need bowling. The kids. I mean, that's a lot of fun.
It is fun.
If I've got so many. I mean, we're always looking for. I actually stepped in to help with the track team, and again, I don't know enough about it. They needed. It's a co-ed team, so they really needed a man and a woman. And so our head coach Ed Rakes, that he's so good with these kids and works and just really good coach. And he was like, I really need you to help me with this. So I found out by doing it, I don't really have the time for it, but we need people that do. I've got a bunch of grandkids. And so, I just know that became a little bit too much for me. But man, it's so much fun. I wish I had the time for it because I fell in love with these kids very quickly. The ones that some of them I didn't get to know as well as others because I kind of concentrated on like the shot put and disc and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And so, but you just fall in love with these kids so quickly and you want to be there for them. And the kids that love bowling, I mean, maybe that's just something to get them involved. And you know what? There's a lot of skill to it, y'all. I've bowled. And, I used to be pretty good. I don't know. Are you a good bowler?
No, I'm left-handed, so I'm not good at it.
Oh, that's
for some
funny.
reason.
But so it's just a good place to be. I know
Yes.
White House Heritage. I feel like I know your school so well because of Muriel. But anything else that we're forgetting before our time wraps
Well,
up?
I'm gonna brag on real quick if I could pop this in here. We kind of did a little trilateral business model thing this year, and again, Mr. Gregory helped with that our pro shop.
Mm.
Ni-
Oh, that's right. With
yeah,
your
Nicole
shirts and stuff.
Staggs
Yeah.
is amazing. She's done a great job. Of
Lean
course,
into that mic a little bit more.
yeah, she was in business before she decided to go in teaching.
Yeah.
And that gives just that edge. I mean, our kids have learned how to do POs. They talk to Miss Mary, our bookkeeper. They have to communicate with the public. It has just grown so much. It's just so much more than just a pro shop.
That's
And
really
then,
cool.
of course, we have our dog grooming business, and that's Tony Leba, and she's done a great job with that. And then our special needs students have started making dog biscuits called Possibilities.
Oh my
I know, it's so
goodness.
cute.
That is so stinking cute. I think I remember
Yeah.
Muriel mentioning that to me.
Yeah, so we
And I
did
had
a
forgotten
little
about that.
5K pup run, and
Yeah.
all three worked together to make it happen. It was a great event, and it was for the band. And yeah, you could have your dog and do a little 5K, but all of our little businesses that we run were involved.
That
So
is
it's pretty
amazing. That is so cute. So you
Glad to
have
put
the
that
pro
in there.
shop, you have the dog biscuits with special needs kids, and then you said you had what else?
Pro shop, the dog grooming.
Dog grooming.
We have dog grooming.
I'm guessing that's through ag.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It's a great, great program.
Oh, how fun.
You could drop your dog off in the morning with your kid. It's like in the same area.
Oh my goodness.
You just
That
make
is
an appointment.
adorable.
We'll take care of it.
How
We-
how long? How many? That's great. I love
This is our
that
first
idea.
year for having it.
That's awesome. I
Yes,
love
even
that
my
idea.
dog gets groomed. So I mean, they do a great job. They are
Oh, I wonder-
very serious.
I love that idea. I'm going to have to run that by our ag folks, Miss
Yeah.
Harden and Dr. Gibson.
Most definitely.
I think that's great. Now, my big old boy is a Great Dane. He's a
Hey,
monster.
we got it.
He's like Muriel's dog.
That's what
I
I'm
don't think
saying.
he's as big
Whoa.
as Muriel's. He's not quite as big as Muriel's, but yeah, I got a big old horse, and then I got a regular dog too. But yeah. I said we bring him in for like horse science stuff, pretend like he's a horse. So that's really cool that y'all
Yeah.
got those businesses. We've just dipped our toe in the water with the pro shop.
Right.
Mr. Bennett has started up doing the shirts and things like that, and they're building that. So that's really exciting. We're actually working on a Bobcat Studio shirt,
Love it.
and it's going to be fun. And we're finishing that up right now. And Jesse Castillo, have you met him?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
He's a graphic arts
Yes, he's great.
guru, man.
Yes,
He
he
has
is.
helped us with our logo so much. Thank you, Jess. And just see, I love how that works. It was so funny when Jesse came in. He was helping me with some cameras, and I found out about all his gifts with graphic arts. And he's like, "Oh, I can help you with that." And I'm like, "I didn't know. We've got all these assets within the county, and if you don't have it right there in your building." Ask a question, because if I'd have just asked the question, if somebody said, "Hey, do we have anybody?" They'd be, "Oh, yeah, Jesse." I had
Yeah.
no idea,
Yeah. So much
So,
talent.
Yeah, so incredible. But there's so many assets here in the county, and again, that BioSTEM program, outstanding.
Well,
Yeah,
Ms. Hoover
outstanding.
has done an amazing
Very
job
much so.
with it.
Very much
She
so.
deserves all the credit.
But
yes.
well, anything else before we wrap up our time together?
Oh, I
Let's
guess
start
I could
at the
talk
end.
all day, but I just
yeah,
want to
yeah.
thank you for having me
my
on.
pleasure. It's been such a
the
nice-
Heritage is a special place.
Yes, it very much is.
It really
and,
is. It's a culture and a climate that you just know.
Yeah.
And the teachers, they care about these kids well beyond English and math. So
You better believe it.
yeah.
So let me ask you now, this is a little bit of probably a big question right before we go, but I think people will kick me if I don't say it. How are things going with the redistricting? Because I know you've had some students that have had to be redistricted to Greenbrier, different things
Right.
like that. Is everything working smoothly with those that are like, well, I'm just going to bring my kid and do those things? Because you've got some that maybe are in their junior year
Right,
and they're
and they
like, I
just
want to
wanna
stay.
continue to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
so
working out okay?
it's
Everything?
working out great.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Yep,
Because I know
yep.
that's been an issue. And because you had a few kids.
I did.
Because you're just getting overflown there,
We are.
overflow. And so you had we had to do a little redistricting there, and that's just part of it. So, but it was made so that if you wanted to stay where you were, you just had to deal with your transportation. It was a logistics thing with buses and all that. So, so that'll be interesting. But I think it seemed to have worked real smoothly.
Yeah,
So,
it has.
very
It was
good.
well thought out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Anything else before we go?
Now, go Pats.
I hear you.
Thank you.
It was so funny when I was trying to figure out why we had cat time and why y'all had pet time. And Muriel looked at me and kind of rolled her eyes. We're the Patriots. You're the Bobcats. I'm like, oh.
I can see her. Saying
Yeah. She was like,
too.
LaVern, think about it. And I'm like, oh,
Hey,
oh yeah.
Muriel.
Hi, Muriel. You better be watching this
better
chick.
be.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much. Very nice to meet you, Dr. Haas.
Very nice to meet you.
God
Thank
bless you. Safe travels across the way.
Outstanding. Thank
Yeah.
y'all.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And as she's making her way out, I'm going to pause for a second, and we're going to talk about one of our lovely sponsors, and then Bill Jones is going to make his way, and we're going to talk weather. Seems like it's been raining a lot, doesn't it? I kind of said, why don't you come on in and just kind of give us totals? He also put out like a little weather alert. We got some rain, some storm stuff coming in over the next couple of days. So I just like to touch base with Bill every now and then and just talk weather because that's one of his expertise out of many. But let's pause and talk about the experts in real estate, Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. I love these folks. They're dear friends of mine. Let's just kind of start with where they're going to be on May 16th and 17th because we're going to all be at, you can go ahead and head out, make your way. You're fine. God bless you. And we're going to all be at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, of course. We will be there on May 16th and 17th. Barry and Rebecca are the founding members of the board, founding sponsors, and they're, of course, still in those roles as we bring to you, I think, the 11th or 12th Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. We're so excited about it. They'll have their tent set up, and you can sit across the table from them and just ask them all the crazy questions about property next to you. Maybe you want to buy some of it next to you. Maybe you want to keep an eye on it. Maybe you're wanting to move. Maybe we want to downsize. Rebecca, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. She can help you older folks like me with downsizing your real estate if that's something you're wanting to do and you want to do something a little different. And here's something really cool. Rebecca was just named in the regional top 100 for Exit Prime Realty. Gross commission income, sales volume in Tennessee. She's number 2 gross commission income in Tennessee, number 2 in sales volume in Tennessee, number 5 in GCI in region, and number 6 in sales volume in region. Congratulations, Rebecca. That is absolutely wonderful. We knew she was awesome. And that's just confirmation of it. If you want to work with Rebecca, if you want to work with her hubby, Barry, the marketer of the bunch, we talk a lot about it because it matters if you want property to be able to turn over and sell, seen in the best light. There's no better way to go than with somebody that's got a marketing background like Barry, 17 years as a media marketing vice president in Nashville. He brings that to the table. He is the broker here in Springfield. She is the agent out of White House that comes together to bring you a new branch in the exit tree, Exit Prime Realty. You want to talk to him again? Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. They will be there the 16th and 17th up at Kilgore Park. They're Cross Plainians. They've been there for 30 years. They got to Robertson County about the same time I did, but they grew up in Kentucky like me, so they understand the nuances of living and working out of Kentucky and living in Tennessee. So they are expertise in what they do. You're going to love working with them. Give Rebecca a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com, and always please let them know that you turn. Well, it's one of those, we'll have you in for the history show, which will be this coming Monday, right?
I have an idea for that show.
What
I'm
you
going to have 2 questions.
Okay.
And I'll give $10 if anybody can answer them in 10 minutes.
Ooh.
Just
okay.
one person, whoever the first one calls.
Okay, so they got to answer both questions?
Well, no, it's just 2 different questions, $10 each.
Okay.
And they got to do it within 10 minutes on the internet.
I love
put
it.
their answer on the
How fun.
Facebook site.
Okay, I'll tell my kiddos about it. Get them to learn something about their counties. Like, they're always looking for
I
money.
won't tell them who they work up the archives. They're not eligible.
Oh,
They can look it up real
the
quick.
archives, you're not eligible. You're not eligible to the archives.
I know they listen.
Oh, how funny. How funny, because they'll hit it. But that's fun. That's fun. I'll tell my kiddos, hey, you want to make some money? And they're always looking, especially these graduating seniors, man.
Maybe I can come up with some more and get some free Whataburgers or
Yeah. I
coupons or
love
something,
that.
later.
Cash is king, Bill. Cash is king. Cash is king. If we can get some sponsors in here to help us with that, that'd be fun. But that's Whataburger. Maybe we need to hit them up to sponsor the show. I hadn't thought about that. That's an idea, Bill.
I get there. I go there a lot.
You like Whataburger?
Not particularly, but my wife does.
Well, I don't know if I can get them to sponsor with
They're really
statements
nice
like
people,
that.
though.
That's funny.
Whataburger is
I
up
love-
on it. They,
I
you know,
love Whataburger.
sometimes it's a little slow service, but
Yeah.
they have a lot of different food. And, I don't want to talk about a commercial of Whataburger, but It's an interesting place to go to.
I got hooked on it down in Texas.
Did you?
Yeah, we had honestly and truthfully, we had when we were down there. Glenn wanted to go down to the border when it was like one of the first times when they were just kind of flooding across the border, and I forget what city we went to, but there was a whole bunch of us went with him. He flew, but we drove down, and so there was a whole suburban full of us that drove down from Blaze. And when we got done, and we were just like, let's just drive back to Dallas. And so we had a long drive, and we stopped in at Whataburger. That was the best burger I ever ate in my life because we were so hungry.
Well, when I was a kid,
we were so hungry.
There was one on Dickerson Road.
Really?
They had very large hamburgers, and I was
Really?
challenged to eat. I ate 7 of them.
Oh, that's hysterical! I didn't know there was
The little
one.
building is still there.
This is kind of a little bit of a history. And where was it?
This was in the 50s on Dickerson Road as you're going into Nashville on the left. This would be before you get to Skyline Hospital.
And
it's a
that was-
little white building there now, but I don't know what's in it, but the
It's
building's
on
still
the
there.
left, right before Skyline.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I'm gonna be looking
Whataburger.
for that. Okay. See, this is the history stuff I just love, and that's not the reason I called you though. We'll be doing that on Monday. So again, get ready. $10 per question within 10 minutes for the questions that Bill's going to put out for you on History Monday coming up right here on 1100 WSGI on Monday. Now today I wanted
I
to
hope
talk
nobody
to you.
gets it because it's costing me.
Oh, how funny! You're funny.
They're rare, but not that rare.
So anyway, well, that'll be fun.
The right person listen, they'll get it.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Well, but I called you in specifically because have we had more rain than we did last year? Has it been? It
No.
seems like we have. I mean, and I kind of figured
Just,
that it's when you're in the
we'll
moment.
go into a dry spell, and then we'll wonder where's all the rain.
Yeah.
We just. It's been unusual weather, and I was talking to somebody out at a flower place the other day, and I said, the Bible tells us that when people go against God, the weather goes bad. They have famines, and they had a lot. And this biblical
Okay.
bad weather coming up if a nation is not paying attention to God. But anyway, that's another story completely. But
Right.
that's interesting. The weather's interesting to follow and look at. One of the things is we have so much instant weather information now on the internet, on Facebook, on television, and everything is watched so closely. It seems like that our weather is more impactful, but it's about the same. It's just we just see it more now. And the Weather Service puts out some little classes, and Weather 101 is called. You ought to do it. It's free. It's on the internet, and one of them is about radar. And
Okay.
people think radar is a picture. It's not. It's not a picture. It's not completely 100% accurate. So, you might follow radar and look at it and say, oh, it's going to come here and it's going to do that, and it is not exactly right. But anyway, that's another thing completely off guard there. But everybody's interested in weather now, it seems like, and all the weather people now, they've got several meteorologists on each channel, and 3 and 4, and it's just amazing how much people are paying attention to weather now. They got their minds on it.
So I've got a kid. One of my students is super interested in weather, and so what did you say? The Weather 101 is how
Weather
do you
101.
connect to
You
that?
go to the Nashville Weather Service, National Weather
Okay.
Service in Nashville.
Okay.
They are putting it on, and it's called Weather 101. And if you just put in, I think, a search Weather 101, it'll come
Okay.
up. And they've been doing this for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's very informative. Each class is about 45 minutes to an hour. It's free. You get online and do it. And each class will be on something specific. It may be on tornadoes one time, radar another, atmospheric conditions, how cold fronts develop, how warm fronts, what they are, how storms develop, just all, everything. It's just and they have different weather people from all over the country doing them, and not just from Nashville, but it might be somebody from Florida or somewhere else. And it's really interesting. In fact, I recorded it. I got it all on my computer, so I can go back and refer to whatever we're looking at. They'll talk about all kinds of stuff I've never even thought of, and it's free. I couldn't believe if you had to pay for it, it'd be well worth.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go, Colton. I'll have to
Weather
share him that. Yeah,
101.
because he'd asked me about that. He'd been, we were talking about the different things, and I don't know. I think I'd said something that you need to understand math if you're going to be a weather person, right?
Very much. You
Yeah,
got
that's
to
why
be strong in math.
I think that
and
was the
science.
conversation we had. I said we were talking about it. He said, he goes, I'm really interested in this. I said, well, do you have a good mathematical understanding? Because I said I know math is a part of it. I don't know enough about it to.
Back when I was in the
specific.
60s,
Yeah,
there wasn't a computer to tell you all the stuff, and
sure.
you had to figure everything. You know,
Oh,
by
okay.
the time you got it figured, it was already happening.
Well, and it's one thing I told him. I said, and he kind of he was like, I don't like math. I said, well, my kid that ended up being an engineer was the only one of my kids that wasn't truly gifted in math, but you can do it. And I mean, he worked hard at it to the point that his brothers that are just kind of natural good in math, they go, it's
Math and science,
Yeah.
and also now video graphics. That has the Weather Service is very heavy into that.
okay.
You see all the stuff they put out. Well, you don't unless
Well,
you get on their site, but a lot of graphic stuff.
You can learn it is the thing.
So,
it's just like I said,
You got to be heavy in those three areas: math, science, and graphics.
if you want it bad enough, you can learn it. I was going to say
Right,
that
yeah.
my boys now they look at their brother and they're like, his math is magic. That's one thing they say about the
Yeah.
math that he does as an engineer, and so you absolutely, if you don't have that edge on it, you can absolutely get there. You just have to
Yeah,
work a
there's
little harder.
You can
You know.
you can graduate with a degree in that in Bowling Green, Western Kentucky.
Has a degree
Have
for
that.
meteorology.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
The biggest one, well known in Iowa State,
Okay.
but they're all over the United States. They have now. It used to not be but one or two places you could go to get a degree in it. Now it's quite popular. A lot of universities.
I'm gonna have Colton watch this because that's something I did not realize because I didn't really know how to advise him. But I appreciate you letting me know that. That's very good information. So
I've gone
Okay.
up there at Bowling, and they have a lot of students. And people normally think, well, if you get a degree in that, you're going to be on television. No, that's very small.
so what
amount.
other kind of jobs could you have for something
a lot
like
of large
that?
companies have meteorologists working for them. Like if it's farming groups have meteorologists to tell them
okay.
about their crops, what's going to happen. And Monsanto, somebody
Yeah.
like that, large companies that have outdoor operations,
Oh,
they need to
okay.
know, instantly. They can't wait for Joe Smith to come up on Channel 13, to tell them, they've got to have information and long run information.
You're going to be part of my education curriculum today,
Then,
Bill. I'm
Of
going to
course,
show this to the
then
kiddos.
if you get into this stuff,
Yeah.
like my have, it's a hobby to me. To really get into it, you got to spend some money on some programs. You get
right.
some of the forecasting stuff, and then there's a lot of it free. Just Ryan Hall, is on is on YouTube, and he's excellent. He's a good meteorologist. He has other people working for him. He has storms chasers, and I talked to him one time about that. I said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And but he covers the United States, and he's on to everything going on right now. There's a lot going on in the Southwest, tornadoes and stuff. He's on top of that, and really good information. But you can watch it for a while. But if you really want the up to date information, you have to subscribe
Oh, I got
to
you.
his
Okay.
service. And
Yeah.
I forget. I don't know what that cost. I forgot.
Yeah.
But anyway, you get just a regular old Joe. You just get in on YouTube, look for Ryan Hall.
That's great.
Y''LL.
I love that concept though, because if you are somebody that, if your electricity goes down, if your internet goes down and you're wanting something up to date, you could do it through your phone service.
There's a
And-
lot available
yeah.
on the phone.
Yeah. So you
Lot.
could get it through your phone. I mean, the weather apps I use are ones you've shown me. So
Well, the people at the Weather Service in Nashville put me on to one several years ago. It comes on my phone. Of course, I have it on home computer too. But it is called Radar Scope.
yeah,
It costs you $9.95 a year.
yeah.
That is a
That's the
steal.
one that we use.
There's
yeah.
another one I use called Radar Omega, and that's about $50 a year.
Okay.
It gives you a little more of graphics and does more, but the most economical is the Radar Scope, and
For
you can
just
get it
$10.
on your phone
Yeah.
or on your home computer or both,
Yeah.
and it's excellent. And then there's instructions that come with it that show you how to use it. You can not know anything and see where the clouds are, but you really need to understand the program and see how they have a more expensive service of $99.95 a year.
Yeah.
But the average person doesn't need that.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than what you even need to see.
But anyway, that Channel 5 puts one out, Channel 4 puts one out, I guess 2 does. There's all kinds of weather services out there. But if you want to know you can pay for other things that's more precise and accurate, and you can spend a lot of money doing that.
Oh yeah,
I've done that, and I backed off. Anyway, it's a lot available on it. A lot of people doing it.
Well, and it's like I've got one of the reasons why I thought to call you in is I got a weather update from you yesterday, and just
I send them out twice a week.
Right. So and then I looked at the forecast and I was like, okay, we've got some rain coming in. Do we have any? And I haven't had a chance to open your email to read it. But then I noticed some rain coming in. Do we have storm activity or just a session of rain?
Nothing severe.
Nothing severe.
The next
just some rain.
7 days for
Awesome.
sure.
Good.
But it's going to be a nice week. Today is a beautiful day.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Cold front is moving out.
Yeah.
We see the blue sky for a change.
I love that.
It'll be a nice week.
I love that, and I'm ready for the warmth. I'm tired of the cold, and it's been just kind of all over the place. It really has. It's been bizarre. Yeah. So, but are we looking ahead? Can you give us an indication of what kind of we've got graduations coming up pretty quick. You figure the kiddos at Greenbrier are going to be graduating 3 weeks from yesterday.
Well,
it's just really hard to know.
Past 3 or 4 days, you can't be accurate.
Yeah.
Still, with all the stuff past, 3 days, you can be pretty accurate.
Yeah.
A week, it's iffy, but 3 months, no.
3 weeks, just 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks, too.
Just 3 weeks. So we're just, because it's one of those things, we all want to graduate outside if we can, because it's a little bit more comfortable. You can spread out a little bit, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of what you expect
if it does, you think of it positively, it's an event you'll always remember.
Yeah, honestly and truthfully.
When we graduated, it was pouring down rain, it was mud, and they'll remember it.
We had the prom
so look
this
at
year.
it positively.
We had the prom this year on that Saturday that everything was canceled but prom. Because it's very hard to cancel a prom when you've paid for a venue and you've got all this money spent. And we were just in prayer over everything about those kiddos coming in. I mean, it was just one of those things, just like, what do you do? Right. And that's one thing that we all kind of settled on. These kids will never forget this prom because it was something else. It was wild out there. And good Lord took care of us, took care of our kids. And it was
Weather's going to be here whether we want it or not.
Yeah.
And I hope we have a thunderstorm because we remember that.
Yeah, well, it rained and stormed on my wedding, and I never forgot it.
Yeah, you never forget that.
I never forget it.
Yeah.
So I saw a bride the other day that was standing out with the rain coming down, and I was like, it rained on my wedding day too. It's okay. It's okay. I'm almost 35 years now. So
it says it rains on the just and unjust.
That's right. That's right. What else have you got for us? I just want to kind of touch on that and see.
Mother's Day's coming up.
Yes.
You know anything about Mother's Day?
I really don't. I think it's nice.
Well, it was established in 1908 by a woman named Anna Jarvis.
Okay.
In the Methodist church she went to. She decided she would tell them in the Methodist church about we need to have a special day for Mother. And that's where it all started.
And it was in what year?
1908.
That's only that long? It's only a little over 100 years.
That was in West Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, when did it become such a thing nationally?
Well, it wasn't long after that. And then she became against it short time after because it got so commercialized.
Yeah,
she didn't mean it for that.
Yeah, it's about,
She was just, in church, she was saying, she was using biblical stuff about, honor thy father and thy mother, for a long life. People forget about the life part. If you honor your mother and father, you'll have longer life on this earth. But she was just talking about honoring how much people don't honor the mother. The mother is sort of there doing all the work at home and taking care of the kids and everything, and she's not honored too well. And so she was bringing it out, the Bible verses in Proverbs and Isaiah and all about honoring the mother.
Interesting.
And that's how that got started. And then it all of a sudden, I mean, a short period of time, it started to be commercialized.
Mm-hmm.
And so she died in 1948, and she was still against it then. And was didn't it became a
Lost the
national
meaning.
holiday and
Yeah.
not a holiday, I guess you'd call it. A celebration anyway, and she was against it the whole time. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
She started it, and then she was against it.
Well, I think her passion for it was birthed out of the fact of what how women were perceived at that time. And again, let's remember that was prior to the women getting the vote. And so, and y'all know how I am. Everybody's like, oh, that's it, women's liber. I'm not a women's
it was
liber.
in my lifetime that women couldn't even have credit cards in their name.
That's
It had to be in
incredible.
their
I
husband's
can't
name.
even imagine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, don't call me. I'm not in the women's lib movement. I am in the we are the same in Jesus Christ movement.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and man, I didn't realize the history of Mother's Day. But I guarantee you, that was a woman who's a lot like me, who's going, we've
I
messed
thought
up.
of you when
We've
I
absolutely
wrote
messed
that
up the
down.
roles of what men and women are. We are separate, but we are equal. And we have separate roles. We are as husbands and wives, we're in submission to each other in unique ways. And it's just, there's so many things, so many places I could go with this. So tell me this.
There's one scripture I want to show you. I
Okay,
thought it was
okay.
Isaiah 66:13 says, "As one whom his mother comforts, so I will comfort you." So God was using the example of the mother's comfort to how He would do. And
Okay.
I thought, well, He didn't say the father; He said the mother.
I love that.
That's interesting that He would
very
do that. And in
interesting.
Proverbs, it talked about the virtuous woman, which
Oh, yes.
there's a lot of books written on that.
And you talk, that's a woman that, would, she was a businesswoman. She was,
Right, right.
you really read that and look at what that is, and
You
you're
know
like,
the-
what? Yeah.
If you know the Eastern customs too of
Oh,
what
yeah.
women were in the house
Yeah.
and what they ran the show.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to read that
Yeah.
about Eastern customs about women back then.
Well, and it's so funny because so many people think that women were always put down. They weren't. And again, we could really go down a rabbit hole here, but we really lost that really about the time of the intertestamental period when we came out of Babylon and they started establishing the synagogue rhythm and things like that, and
Right.
the where you had these rabbinical leaders that became a little too. There were some that were anti-women, and they wanted to put women in their place and all that kind of thing. And so we really lost something. And I think it's during that period, in the intertestamental period, in those silent years that they talk about, where a lot of the unfortunate things that happened for women, and then I think Christ came and was like lifting women up and saying, "Look, look, look."
He did.
And
but that's,
yeah, and we need to get
the
back on.
tradition puts
Mhm.
it back down.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now tell me this: do you have what was the timing of then Father's Day after that? So was that
don't
just
know.
kind of a commercial thing on the backside of Women's
I
Day
think Father's
or
Day
Mother's Day?
came-
Let's
came
just have,
after that.
Okay.
Probably Mother's Day gave them that idea, but she was lobbying in the 30s and the 40s to remove it
Mhm.
from the national calendar.
Okay.
I don't. I've got a file on Father's Day at home. I just didn't look at it because it's Mother's Day.
I got you. Well, I'm going to be curious. I'm going to challenge you.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, I want to know that when did Father's Day come in? Was it because of Mother's
I think
Day?
it
And they're
came
just
after
like,
Mother's Day.
yeah, it's like, well, it's another idea to have a commercial opportunity.
yeah.
Okay, very cool. You had something else there. You look
No,
like.
that's just notes I made real quickly when you called me this morning.
Right.
About there's lots of places in the Bible that is mentioned, and I'm Bible crazy sometimes.
Yeah,
looking
me
at
too.
Research of stuff, so the Bible generally encourages practice of honoring our mothers and the fathers. So especially the mothers, and like I said in Isaiah, there, God Himself uses it as an example of how He would be like mothers would be. So you look back and in the old days, especially mothers were very, very important. And I don't know how a family is raised without a mother.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I know my father and my mother both raised without a father. They died, very early in their life, 4 years old and things. So they didn't know what it was like having a father figure in the house. But what would it be like not having a mother figure?
Oh,
That's
that would be hard,
that's
especially for the
very
young kids.
traumatic.
And I've had friends that have had to deal with that, and it's one of those things. You honestly, you go to your church and you find people that can help you fill those roles.
Yeah.
I think I have on the opposite side of that coin. I have Dr. Frank Scott that went to church with me forever and ever. He's moved him and his bride to go and be with their grandkids, but he has a twin brother, identical twin brother, and their dad died young, and his mother sought out a church to help because she knew that she had to have some help because they didn't have their dad. And I think it's the same thing that happens in that situation where if you lose a mother, that you go find your community, you find
Right.
you're in a tribe that can circle around you and help you and fill those roles because it's so crucial.
I know now, and some of the organizations we have, which a lot of them come to our Kiwanis Club and tell about what they're doing, and we donate money. But they talk about, it's so important not having good parents in the home. It's devastating to children not to have a backboard or a foundation of a good mother and good father, especially the mother, because they nurture the children. The mother does. The father doesn't do that very well, and it's real important for the mother to be around. And of course, nowadays, what you see all the time, women get pregnant, and the father, he's gone. So she's stuck with raising the children by herself. You don't see it hardly much at all. The father raising the children, but it does happen, but not as often as it is with the mother, and they have a tremendous burden on them to raise the children with nurture and loving care. And occasionally there are people who don't have good mothers, and it's tough on them. Like they have a different mindset of what a mother really is, and that's difficult.
Talking about the roles of women and stuff that we're just discussing, there's actually in a study that I'm doing, I'm trying to find the verse quickly, and I'm not finding a translation that's in something that Dr. Kenneth Bailey was talking about, how that there is a verse in Jeremiah, and I'm going to have to go look at some other versions because the way he quoted it is not what I'm reading here, but it's in Jeremiah 31, and this is in the NIV. But it's at verse 22. It says, "How long will you wander, unfaithful daughter Israel? The Lord will create a new thing on earth. The woman will return to the man." Actually, when it's more accurately translated, it says the woman will protect a man. I'm doing a new thing on earth, and I'm curious if I need to find the translation that he read that in. But that kind of blew my mind because I had never heard that verse. But that's a challenge for you, brother. So that is Jeremiah 31, verse 22. But again, I was studying it under Dr. Kenneth Bailey, and he has it translated, the Lord will create a new thing on earth, the woman will protect the man. And I thought, wow, I've never heard it that way. But in the NIV, and that's actually the World English, I'm looking at some different versions here with my Bible Gateway real quick. But
You say 22?
no, yeah.
31, 22?
31, 22, 31, 22. But just as we've been sitting here talking about this, and I'm not finding it in I'll find it and see which version he was using, because that does change the translation. And I want to see it literally translated is what I want to see, and also I want to see it.
That's an interesting verse.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I'm going to look at that.
Yeah, I thought that'd be one you would.
One of the translations says a woman will encompass a man.
That's what I'm reading right now. I just found that one.
I don't know what that means.
Me
We'll have
either.
to read, we all make mistakes of taking a verse out of context. We need to read before and after to see what the context is. So
And you need to read multiple versions because I'm telling you, it changes it. And I'm a big firm believer in looking at it and and making sure you get it down to as close to the literal as you possibly can. My friend, did you hear the show yesterday?
No.
Dr. Jimmy Sotz, and he really expert in Hebrew and Greek. So this will be one that I'm going to send him off, and I'll say, okay, I need to understand exactly every word in this verse. and he'll do it for me.
Well,
You know.
sometimes literal doesn't get it.
Well, but
Literal gets
like you said,
often.
it's like and this is kind of this is again the women's role stuff that I'm building on and I'm researching and I'm digging into, and that's how I ended up with this verse. And I'd never read it that way because I've never seen it written in the translation that Dr. Bailey uses. So that's one for y'all to study. Jeremiah 31 verse 22, and see what people come back with us. So with all of the kind of to regroup what we've been talking about. Yes, we've had a lot of rain, but we've not had more than what you think. We're going to need it when we get in the dry spell. There's no adverse, terrible weather coming up, just some rain over the next few days. So it's got some beautiful weather coming up. Teasing the idea of when we come in here on Monday, Bill is going to be in here for the history show that we're doing on the second Monday of the month now, and he's going to have 2 questions for you. 2 questions that if you can answer within 10 minutes, you just have to answer one of them, it's going to give you $10.
These are questions of where is such and such.
Okay, so this is something to do with Robertson County history.
Right.
Is it Robertson County?
Yeah.
Specific. Okay.
Really, it's going to be in Springfield.
Specific to Springfield history, y'all. Okay, and if you work in the archives, you can't play. He says you can't play. So anyway, I think that's really funny because he knows who you are, and he knows that y'all will just be you'll blow the fun for everybody else. And then my challenge is to dig into Jeremiah 31 verse 22, and let's all kind of see what that exactly means, rather than what we have said it means all these years. How's that sound?
That's great. I love research like that.
I do too. I do too.
And
So much fun.
Yeah.
And for the record, as a school teacher, your seniors in Robertson County, if they are exempt from finals, which is a thing now, if they have got the right, if they've got a good grade, an A or a B, and they don't have too many absences, they cannot take their finals, which would be set for Thursday and Friday. So realistically, your seniors are in their last 2 days of school at Robertson County High Schools.
It's awful early.
Well, but they get out early from the other kids. And so their graduations then will be in the next couple of weeks. And I think Greenbrier is really one of the last ones. So I think graduations actually start pretty much maybe a week from like next Tuesday, something like that. I'll have to get with the school to get all the dates. But yes, your seniors are about done, and even the ones who have to take finals are going to be done Friday. And then the rest of the kids have 2 weeks left. We are on top of it.
Like I remember years ago, Greenbrier graduation, the electricity went out. Seems like that may not have happened, but I had that in my mind.
Okay, I'll have to ask some of the ones that have been there all the time.
Or something like
that. I'll find. I bet I can find some people who'll know. Anyway, thank you, Bill. Appreciate you coming in. We had talked to Sean Elmore about possibly coming in today, and I don't know if you know, I mean, their floors were destroyed by a plumbing flooding, and they're getting it all cleaned up. But if you don't believe in spiritual warfare, just look at that. They got their 2 ultrasound machines. They've just, got their nurse coming in. I mean, they're just at that place. They were just here like days before this happened. So exciting. And all of this, and then that little plumbing accident happened, and it flooded. They're going to be fine, but it's just a mess to clean up. And so they're in the throes of that. And if you think you can help in any way, reach out to Sean or just to the center and just pray some love on them, and we'll get another update from her tomorrow. We're going to be talking about nursing and education, and so that's going to be an awful lot of fun. It's going to be interesting. So I hope you'll join us here for One Street Over on 1100 WSGI. Thank you, Bill. God bless you, and God bless y'all. We'll see you tomorrow.
Friend of mine bought himself a shovel, said I'm gonna